Quick little update on the COVID situation. The pandemic still very much awful in terms of deaths, with the most recent reporting from the COVID tracking project listing over 4,000 deaths. Once again, we have had many days above 4,000 deaths. And I mostly say this because, again, it doesn't seem like this is what most of the media is talking about. But despite that, there is some good news here, including the fact that once again, tests were over 2 million. And that is good, especially because there is some reason to believe that the rollout of the vaccine has cut back on a little bit of the testing capacity. So keeping it above 2 million while vaccines are going up is a good thing. Also, we are now down to 155,000 cases, and 104,000 people in hospitals. Hospitalizations are apparently falling pretty much everywhere because cases are falling pretty much everywhere around the country. You can see in this chart, you're gonna see the breakdown by region. The issue is that so far, and perhaps this will correct itself a bit in a couple of weeks, the deaths are not dropping equally. You can see that in the South, they're still going up, and you can see in the West going up as well. So in the South and the West, things still not looking good. And I wanted to remind everyone that we're here in California, part of that West, a pretty good sized part of the West actually. And we just sort of reopened again, Brett, isn't that exciting? I mean, we don't have any space in our ICUs, but we've reopened. Great.
I'm fine with it.
Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom, in my analysis of it, it's so tough to tell why anyone does anything, but it seems like Gavin Newsom didn't want to be on the hook for a statewide decision, so he decided to kick it down to the regions and let the regions decide how they were gonna reopen. And LA still is on a very high level alert in the south of Southern California, and we are the least capacity available in terms of ICU beds. In the north, it's like 20% still available, which is why he would peel it back. So depending on how much you like or hate Gavin Newsom, you're still right to think he's a piece of garbage for going to fancy dinner with people, but amid all this in person. But it makes sense if different regions are experiencing different volumes of this, then you should act accordingly.
Sure. I would also say that those regions prematurely reopening is how you get those regions to once again have high case counts. That's the experience California's had a couple of times. But I just saw a super chat. A friend just lost both parents this week to COVID. Absolutely devastating. Thank you for letting us know. That's terrible. There is a little bit of good news, perhaps. A couple more vaccines are rolling their way through to possibly being approved. We have information on the Novavax vaccine. Apparently the 2-dose, it's one of those that requires 2 doses, was around 89% effective in preventing COVID-19 illness, which is good. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine's efficacy rate apparently dropped from 72% in the US to 57% in South Africa, perhaps because of the presence of a highly contagious variant. That is not what you'd like to see. Apparently, it also drops some of the others a little bit as well. But as the virus continues to mutate and new parts or new versions of it are cropping up, the idea that a significant drop in vaccine efficacy could be there. That's gonna be something to worry about. It seems like some of the others are a little bit more resistant to it, but that one you lose quite a bit there. But anyway,
Johnson & Johnson's a 1 dose, and they're advertising it as 66% effective today. So yeah, it ain't easy out there. And I totally get your point about them wanting to change, but you can still keep a high level of closure in those regions of California. Like that can still happen.
It's just
not a statewide issue. But that Johnson & Johnson, it's terrifying about all of these new strains. You want the vaccination to happen as quickly and efficiently as possible so that you can get out ahead of it. And so much of this relies on people needing to be vaccinated en masse to kind of get ahead of the curve. And hopefully that can happen, but it hasn't yet.
Yeah, and really hoping the daily vaccination numbers were at like 1 million shots administered, which again is not the same thing as 1 million people getting it. We really need to get that number up, and hoping that February is the month where that really ramps up. We'll see if the invocation of the DPA is going to be successful in doing that.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.